It is Tuesday, January 16th, the United States, and this is What Chaos. I'm DJ Bean. We got Sean DePaz here, and we got Pete Blackburn in Chicago. Hi, Pete.
Hello. A big congratulations to Sean, by the way, on the Buffalo Bills. A nice playoff win.
Hey.
Congratulations. Not exactly sweat-free for our guy Sean yesterday, but a win is a win is a win.
Buffalo sweep. Sabres shutout win over the Sharks, too, in a game that got moved because of the Bills. So it's a good day.
Congratulations for beating the Sharks.
Wow. Didn't think you'd be able to pull that off.
Sabres are 3-1 in the month of January, I believe. So
wow.
Start to 2024.
You might want to revise those all-star rosters.
Yeah. Hey, Casey Middlestat deserves to be an all-star. Middlestat mode, another a 3-point night yesterday. 3-point game in the Sabres 3-0 win. He's very, very good.
It's the all-star game. Deserve's got nothing to do with it.
True.
Yeah, I was going to say, as we discussed yesterday, deserve has nothing to do with the all-star rosters this year because that's not a requirement.
Let's grab each other's asses for a little bit. Pete, it is very snowy here in Boston. How is it in Chicago?
Extremely cold, but not snowy. It is a high of 0 degrees today, a low of -12. So no snow, but very, very cold. How cold is it there? This is a weather report. How cold is it there?
It's cold enough for there to be snow. So that's
30 degrees according to my Apple Watch. But yeah, there is snow, so we're fighting the elements.
Hell yeah. We got Sean Durzi.
Is it a good vibe? Is it like a nice snow? Is it a beautiful snow? Or is it like a gross, yucky snow?
If this were a Friday and it was supposed to snow worse tomorrow, today would be like a great day. You know, like the beginning of like a cozy snowed in weekend?
Yep.
This would be a great first day of that, where like it's not so bad. If you need to run out and get some extra stuff, you can still do it. But Sean and I were both surprised.
Get the bread and the milk.
I learned via text message that it was snowing. Wouldn't have known otherwise. Sean said he didn't know that it was snowing until he left his garage. So a couple of sports heads. We were locked in on our sports. Didn't know anything about what was outside.
Wait, can we talk real quick? Sean, you got a garage?
Well, I mean, I have like an apartment with like a parking garage under it. It's not like my own personal garage.
I know, but that's still pretty fucking sick.
No, it's very.
Good for you.
Parking was a necessity when I moved here. That was one of my like non-negotiables for my apartment.
That's something you got to know about Sean.
Look at this bougie ass bitch.
Yeah,
parking or I'm out. I'm leaving.
We have Sean Durzi, the Phoenix Coyotes, on today's show, and we'd wanted to get him for a while, and we weren't.
Oh boy.
What'd you just did the biggest. I don't know
Arizona
if you did
Coyotes.
I was gonna say I didn't know if you did it on purpose or not.
I'm very, very sick. Okay.
Okay, that's fair. I'm just saying I couldn't let that go because Coyotes fans would have thrown a fit. That's like $1 in the jar.
It was a test. You guys all failed.
Okay, I was just making because I didn't put it past you to have been doing that just to bother me. So I wanted to make sure, but I had to call you out.
I was reminding everybody that they're not just Arizona's team. They're every town in Arizona.
They're
the Glendale Coyotes.
They're the Tempe Coyotes.
They're the Tempe Coyotes.
I'm very curious as people who root for the New England Patriots. Well, I know you're a Chargers fan, but does
shut up, Leah? Leah's giving me shit.
Listen, Shane's doing it too. Shane's
Shane, I'm very, very
producer.
sick.
Do you feel like a team being named vague like that, like actually makes it more like does it being the New England Patriots versus the Boston Patriots make it more appealing to non-Boston residents, or does it not, like would it not matter? Do you think it actually matters that they're Arizona over Phoenix?
Nothing appeals to Boston residents anyway, so you could just call it whatever you want.
That's fair. If it makes you feel better, DJ, on TV yesterday, I said Chris Nealon instead of Chris Nyland, and I felt very bad about it afterwards.
I saw that. I don't know how I saw it because I don't follow the account that posted it. You must have retweeted it. and I was going to retweet it to support you, but
thank you for not doing that.
In support for you after watching the clip. And honestly, I'm usually like a blind retweet if somebody puts something out there that they're proud of. Like if they post something from work, I assume they feel good enough about it that I should share it for them too. Watched it, and I was like, they're going to roast him in the quote tweets.
Yeah.
So I
unretweeted it. I unretweeted it because I was like, oh no, people are going to roast me for this. So I felt quite embarrassed about it, but it is what it is. I was a little nervous. We move on. New day today.
The Sedona Coyotes. Hey, everybody, shout out me for being the most inclusive Coyotes supporter.
Shout out the Snowflake Coyotes, real city in Arizona, by the way. I wasn't calling them snowflakes. They are. There's a Snowflake, Arizona.
There is?
Yes.
Snowflake, Arizona? Yes. That's where Pete's from. Snowflake he is. Ooh, I like Biden. That's Pete.
That's me, buddy. That's me for sure.
I was thinking, like, what would be, what would be such a good bit? Being like a Biden guy. Because, like, no one, like, you either don't care about Biden or you, for some reason, hate Biden. I like the idea of someone being like, dude, fucking Biden. Isn't that guy the man?
Isn't that guy crushing?
Biden is so cooking.
Biden.
Nobody has cooked in the White House like Biden in a long time.
Proud graduate of Syracuse University Law School. Just saying, big day for Syracuse. Big day for upstate New York.
So from the woke Arizona, somebody says. Well, we do have Sean Durzi from the NHL joining us today, and it's an incredible conversation. We'd want to get him for a while, and there was a scheduling conflict earlier. The Coyotes looped back to us, and they were like, hey, we going to make this happen at some point? We were like, hell yeah, let's do it. Sean was incredible. Probably the best response to an icebreaker we've had, and that set the tone for an incredible conversation. We went with him for about an hour, so we had to cut it down tremendously to fit into the show, but we will put the Durzi cut on YouTube. So if you are not on the What Chaos YouTube, go to youtube.com/@WhatChaosShow. You'll get the whole thing, plus a bunch of clips, shorts, extra fun stuff we do on there. It's amazing. But we start with the goaltenders of the NHL because we have learned most likely why Alexander Georgiev somehow got into the NHL All-Star game. We both blew our tops about Georgiev of the Avalanche getting voted in despite being an extremely mid goaltender this season. We were saying it must have been Avalanche fans. Then some Avalanche fans came to us and they were like, hey, Dustin Pedroia voice. It wasn't me. It was not like...
We got a wide variety of responses in regards to Georgiev yesterday from Avalanche fans. Like some of them were like, no, hell no, we didn't vote this guy, and this guy stinks. And then like another good portion of people were like, stop saying he stinks. He's been pretty good. The defense in front of him hasn't been very good. Like he's kind of getting hung out to dry.
Cool, so you get to be an all-star?
Well, yeah, obviously. And then there was another section of people that were like, yeah, we voted to send him to the All-Star game to punish him. Nobody wants to go. So as a punishment for poor play, we voted him into the All-Star game, which I kind of love that idea.
That's my favorite one. Like find out who we have a guest coming up next week who might have been outspoken about not wanting to go to the All-Star game. And we tried to trick him into thinking he was winning the fan vote. And he was like, fuck you guys, I'm playing shitty on purpose. I'm not going to the All-Star game. I would like to do that, though. That would be like I mean, the John Scott thing was, what was the guy's name on American Idol who couldn't sing? And everyone was like, fuck it, we vote this guy in.
William Hung?
No. I mean, William Hung was incredible. There was was it like Sanjaya? You remember?
Oh,
him?
Yeah.
He had he was like a really pretty person and had like amazing hair, couldn't really sing. And everyone was like, fuck it, we like this guy, we're sending him through. And American Idol had to be like, stop fucking around. And everyone was like, sorry, we like this guy. We want him to be a star. He wins. Anyway, the most plausible theory was that when you went and filled out the All-Star thing online, shout out the chat, everybody jumped in. They were like, yeah, it was Sanjaya. When you filled out the vote, the goalie portion was sorted by wins. So as fate would have it, Alexander Georgiev was the first person there. So if anybody was like finishing a ballot, I get. Like, did you voters? Did you have to vote every position? Because
I don't know. I famously didn't vote, but like if
Ah.
by all accounts, it sounds like the
Anti-democracy.
NHL's voting website sorted by wins by default, which is possibly the dumbest thing that you could do as like a NHL website for goaltenders. Like maybe the only dumber stat to sort by would be goals, and then you'd have Alex Nedeljkovic in the and Tristan Jarry in the All-Star game instead. But like, yeah, sorting by wins is an incredible move by the NHL, and they have blood on their hands for Georgiev being in the All-Star game this year.
So that is why he got in. I got to give credit to there's a Twitter user named D4Bean. I believe it went like this. Pete retweeted a clip of me complaining about Alexander Georgiev being an all-star, and somebody responded to Pete saying, "Oh, shut up. You've been crying about this for 3 days straight. Give it a rest." And Pete did not know until our conversation about Alexander Georgiev being an all-star that Alexander Georgiev was an all-star.
Yeah, and I literally said, I will give you $500 if you can find one receipt of me talking about Alex Georgiev this season. Not even like a negative thing about the All-Star game before today. If you can find me saying a single thing, positive or negative, about Georgiev this entire season before today, I'll give you $500 and radio silence, because I'll tell you who I hadn't thought of for basically this entire season was Alex Georgiev.
Well, clearly wins are the most important stat, and yesterday Alexander Georgiev lost to the Montreal Canadiens, who suck big time. So maybe we withdraw that. But
I mean, I want to push back on the Canadiens suck big time. They got heart, man. That's a team that plays hard, and I respect them. So
they hung in there with the Oilers as the Oilers won their 10th straight game and proved that Connor McDavid is better than Wayne Gretzky, because Gretzky could never accomplish that.
Yeah, like the Canadiens aren't good. We can all kind of agree on that, but they're a not so good team that plays hard, and I do respect that.
I do want to talk about wins, actually, goaltender wins, because with the Wild's 5-0 win over the Islanders last night, Marc-Andre Fleury passed Patrick Waugh with his 552nd career NHL win. He is now second all-time in the NHL. Martin Brodeur is first with 691. As we've covered, we don't really care about NHL goaltender wins, but for some reason, Marc-Andre Fleury finishing his career very high on that list hits me in the feels in kind of a good way. I don't think that he deserves to be considered a top 2 anything when it comes to goaltending, but for the first overall pick,
what about top 2 smile?
Top 2.
Got you there, pal.
Top 2 swords in the back. We'll talk about Alan Walsh later in this podcast.
Top 2 prankster.
Yeah. First overall pick in a pretty bad draft, or what was considered a pretty bad draft. The team with the first overall pick, the Panthers, traded down. They were like, we don't care about this draft. And Fleury goes first overall, ends up carving out a really good career with a really good team. The Penguins won a bunch of cups there. And Fleury strikes me now, obviously. Like, when you think of Marc-Andre Fleury, do you consider him a journeyman? Because I do.
I don't. I consider him a guy who's played for like, what, 4 teams? But like, no, I don't consider him a journeyman. I do consider him as having one of the weirdest careers in the history of the NHL in terms of like, not necessarily like he obviously isn't a flame out or anything like that. He's the second most wins of goaltenders of all time, but like he's a guy whose stock has been on rapid decline like several times in his career and has managed to pull himself out of it and not only like bring himself back to relevancy, but like he's won a Vezina, he's won a Stanley Cup. Like he's had an extreme roller coaster career to a degree where I don't think a lot of other players have had the ups and downs that Marc-Andre Fleury has had and is still kicking. Like, I don't think that we expected him to be in the NHL and kind of doing okay in his 40s.
Yeah, so I do consider him a journeyman, but just barely. He's a weird journeyman because he spent his first 12 years with the team that drafted him. And
he's 39. He's 39. He's not yet in his 40s. Who is it earlier this season that said he was like 45 as a joke on his team? It's one of his
probably
teammates.
Somebody who was not saying it as a joke and was just guessing, because Like if you were
No,
like, is Marc-Andre Fleury 41? I'd be like, ugh, maybe.
it was a joke because Marc-Andre Fleury keeps stealing his clothes. I don't know if you've kept up with this at all, but Fleury keeps stealing his clothes out of his locker, and he keeps having to like leave and get to games with like missing shirts and stuff. So he's wearing like a blazer with just no shirt underneath. I want to say it's like Brandon Duhaime or something, but yeah, it's somebody called him 45, and it has kind of like forced my mind into believing that Marc-Andre Fleury is in his 40s.
Yeah, well, as you said, he's kind of been left for dead a few times in his career, and 2021, he still ends up winning a Vezina. So, like, I respect him, and I think that he's been a victim of his contract at points where it's like what do we do with this guy? But for the first overall pick in a bad draft, to have a long career and do it multiple stops. I mean, he almost won another cup in Vegas. Great career for a player that I know he's a first overall pick. Like, I did not expect this from him. And I think that when he left Pittsburgh, nobody expected this from him. So congratulations to him. I do like that he's not going to catch Martin Brodeur. I think that first should be held by like an all-time great goalie. And I don't think Marc-Andre Fleury is an all-time great goalie. I will tell you who is, though. That's Elvis Merzlikins, because he got his first win in like 5 games, a shootout win over the Canucks. Just lets it all out, screams like a maniac, has a bunch of bonkers quotes, and is like, and as you guys all know, I want the fuck out of here. What a legend.
Yeah, I love that so much. I mean, his celebration after the big win in the shootout was good on its own, and then you talk about like him being like, I'm mad. I'm letting the monster out of me right now. And of course, yes, you've heard the rumors. I want to be traded. Get me out of here. And then what did he say after that? He was like, I needed this win. I needed this win badly. And I got it. And now I am laughing. Like, he wasn't laughing. He said, now I am laughing.
Sir, you are actively not laughing.
That guy seems like a dude whose stock is going to soar when he gets to his next team. And I could be very wrong about that. You can keep the receipts if you want, but I love the fire. And I think that he is a very good goalie. At least can be. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a goaltending expert. I've said this openly many times. I have no idea how to evaluate goaltending, and it is the most unpredictable thing in the world. But I have seen like Elvis Merzlikins has been dominant at points during his NHL career. And I think that an angry Elvis in a new location playing for a good team could be awesome.
Well, it's a very sad day in what chaos history. We need to denounce or renounce. If I were not sick, I'd be all over this. I think it is denounce. I think denounce is with a person, and renounce is with a cause. We denounce Frank Vatrano, and we renounce his actions because he did something unseemly yesterday. After the Ducks came back from a 4-2 deficit and beat the Panthers 5-4 in overtime, Frank Vatrano, or I guess it was late in the third period of this game, Frank Vatrano had gotten in a tussle with Matthew Tkachuk, American on American crime. And
it was very high school wrestling. Like, it was not a hockey fight. It was both guys on the ground, legitimately high school wrestling. And Tkachuk was in the top position for a little bit. It seemed like he kind of had the alpha position. Did you know this about me? I was a high school wrestler.
You were a high school wrestler?
For like 2 years, and I hated it. It sucked. And I was like the dirtiest high school wrestler. Every time you would start in that top position, I would take my chin and just dig it into the, like, in between the shoulder blades of the guy in the bottom position. And like, they would always complain about it, and it would always work, and I would always get away with it. So
it's like baseball. You have like a smaller strike zone when you're a small wrestler.
I also did that. I did like the very low crouch down batting stance as a person who is not tall. Doing that is a cheat code. I had so many walks. I think my batting average was like 0.050, and my on base percentage was probably like 400.
700. Absolutely love that. But in all of the madness, Frank Vatrano removed his glove to give a Florida Panthers.
No, that was in overtime. after the fight.
The third period was the stuff with Tkachuk. Overtime was takes off his glove, give the finger. And all kidding aside, this is the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Because look at the old guy he's flipping off, and look how happy the old guy is.
I don't know if he's flipping off that old guy. I think he's looking a couple rows behind him, but the old guy in the first row who just watched his favorite team, the Florida Panthers, lose in overtime, got the biggest chuckle out of Frank Vatrano flipping the bird. I guess that person that he was flipping off may have thrown a water bottle on the ice. That might have been the reason. But bad journalism that nobody asked Frank Vatrano about this after the game, right? Because I didn't see any quotes about it.
I wonder if the team didn't make him available because they were like,
no,
he's running hot. He's flipping people off. Really? And
he talked about like how intense the end of the game was and stuff like that. But I don't think that I saw any quotes about him actually flipping the bird. I gotta say, like, nobody comes out of this looking worse than Andrew Ference, because Andrew Ference famously had a awesome middle finger to the city of Montreal in a playoff game for the Bruins, and he kept his glove on. And I thought it was funny at the time, and I still think it's kind of funny that he did keep his glove on and still managed to get the middle finger up in the glove to display that big FU. But it's so much funnier having seen Frank Vatrano take the glove off and just throw the bird a couple rows deep. That is so good.
My favorite part about the Ference thing is that he lied about it. Afterwards, denied it.
Oh, yeah.
Said I did not do that. That's the... I don't know what kind of, I don't think deep fakes existed. I am positive they did in 2011, but I was covering that game, and it was in Montreal. I went to the Canadiens room after the game, and I wanted to try to do both. So I left the Canadiens room a little early, and I was sprinting to the Bruins room. And as I was sprinting to the Bruins room, I saw the worst thing you could see as you are running into a dressing room, which is reporters starting to trickle out. No.
Okay.
Okay. Penises, it's healthy. As I'm running to the Bruins room, I see Fluto Shinzawa walking out, and he's just like chuckling, and I was like, "What happened? Did Ference talk?" And he goes, "He said he didn't do it." I was like, "He said he didn't do it. Does he know that like?" There were cameras, and we all saw he was like, he just said he didn't do it. He said it was like something wrong with his glove. And the famous quote was, there was a glove malfunction.
There's on the power rankings of like ways to handle that in the aftermath. I think one is owning it and just being like, yeah, so what? Flip the bird. I don't like them, whatever. Number two is just lying about something that clearly happened. Like that is essentially doubling down in a way, and it might be funnier than any other possibility. It should be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. That didn't happen.
I had a friend in college. Who would claim to not receive messages on AOL Instant Messenger, and he'd be like, "Oh, I don't know. It just like must not have gone through." And I guess like we still didn't know enough about technology where I was like, I think they always go through, but he says it didn't go
he's
through.
The one guy in the world who just isn't getting those messages to come through. And I'm willing to bet, just by coincidence, that those were messages that he didn't care to see, and somehow they just didn't get delivered.
They were all like, "Hey, like we're going to dinner in 10. You want to come?" And he just like wouldn't reply and wouldn't come to dinner with us. And we'd be like, "What happened? Did you get dinner on your own?" He'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't get it. Why did you send me a message? I don't know. It didn't come through."
Amazing. I do want to point out, as I was looking for a quote from Frank Vatrano after yesterday's incident, I did find this tweet from 2018. This tweet that says, Frank Vatrano with the middle finger to his old team, from a random guy, Mike Sanchez, who is a Florida Panthers fan. 2018. This was after Frank Vatrano, I believe, scored a goal against the Boston Bruins.
Yep, looked it up. It was in the first period of a game against the Boston Bruins. Frank Vatrano scored a goal to put the Panthers up 2-0, and the Panthers ended up winning that game. But the idea of middle finger, who's like, well, could he be a repeat offender?
Repeat offender, 6 years later, right back to where we started, against his former team, the Florida Panthers. Although Frank Vatrano has a lot of former teams at this point. But also, Frank Vatrano crushed with Panthers.
He did,
Didn't he light it up with the Panthers, and then he was traded to the Rangers, and then he lit it up for the Rangers down the stretch, and he had a great playoffs for the Rangers that year.
He's like an arrive and go off guy. I think.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
are
yeah.
players like that. Like when they first get to a team, they just go crazy.
Well, he's
And-
also like he's also largely a plug and play kind of guy, where like his shot's nasty, and if that's just kind of what you need to add that spark to your team, Vatrano's a guy that can just come in and just like snipe. So yeah, it was fun to watch him that year in particular.
Last thing before we get to Sean Durzi is after that game, the Ducks tweeted out that Ben Afquack was really happy after that win. I said, Ducks, what are you talking about? And this was the clip they posted. Joined by... That duck doesn't want to work. He wants to bang on the drum all day.
I know it was an accident, but introducing that clip with "joined by" and then having the
Ben
duck
Afquack.
was an incredible
Sean
accidental
is very
mistake.
sick, Pete. Sean is very, very sick.
No, I mean that was an incredible art performance by Sean. Just really on the ones and twos. That was awesome. I did not know about the existence of Ben Afquack until this moment, or I guess yesterday's moment when you sent it in the text chain. But yeah, I my big question was: is this duck a Ducks fan, or was this duck a viral sensation that already existed and then was co-opted by the Anaheim Ducks? I've been told that this duck was already famous. And
Yes,
the Ducks,
it's the latter. There was a guy that got a duck, and he wanted it to have more functionality than just being like a farm animal. He wanted it to be more like a pet, to which I would say, watch Friends for me one time. Just have it roam around the apartment.
right?
But he would have it play the drums. He was like, the duck really likes playing the drums. And I'm like, I think you keep putting a drum underneath the duck. But to each their own, tomato, tomato. And at some point, the Ducks team ended up being involved. I started to send the Ducks an email being like, tell us about this duck. But then I figured it was Googleable, so I Googled it instead. And that's
You find out anything?
That's the long and the short of it. It's just like a popular duck online. I don't
What's
know.
the lifespan of ducks? It'd be a real tough blow for the Anaheim Ducks if that duck just died in the middle of the season.
Or if the duck was like, yeah, I'm more of like a Sharks guy. I like the Kings.
Imagine Ben Afquack just changes allegiances midway
We'll
through
play the
the
drums for the Ducks, and then they're like, how about the Knights? And he's like, yeah.
Sean, do you have any strong opinions on ducks?
No, I was just looking it up. They live for 8 to 12 years. So
Okay.
don't know how old that duck is.
Hopefully it's in the early stages. He might be able to see this Ducks rebuild through.
Right, I was gonna say,
I don't have any strong opinions on
is
ducks.
it a veteran duck?
I just feel like if you're a Duck, you're kind of obligated to be an Anaheim Ducks and Oregon Ducks fan. Like, you didn't have much of a choice there, I feel like.
It does highlight.
I bet ducks aren't riddled with chlamydia.
That's
got that going for them.
Yeah, I mean, the bar is pretty high for me to really hate an animal.
I don't think that's the sort of thing you're supposed to take a chance on. I don't think you're supposed to say, I bet this
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't have chlamydia.
Well, all I know is that they
let's
don't
get
have
Ben
a
Affleck
reputation
tested.
of all of them having chlamydia. Good name. Ben
does-
Afquack is a great name.
it's
It
a great
does, though.
name.
Yeah, that was really what got my attention. I was like,
Mhm.
if this is an Anaheim Ducks thing and it's named Ben Afquack, all the way in. But
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't give a shit about this duck if it wasn't named Ben Afquack.
the whole thing, though, does underscore what a silly name the Mighty Ducks was. I love the name the Mighty Ducks, but the idea of a duck being mighty is just very unrealistic. They're not a mighty species. I'm
not smart, so would you say like mighty is a qualifier? Or
Yeah.
what is it?
It's
Is
like
a
a
qualifier
descriptor.
adjective?
So, yeah,
Descriptor?
adjective, but it's like a descriptor.
I feel like more teams should lean into descriptors before like a generic, like the
Right.
San Jose Angry Sharks.
Like the fight
Something
in the
like
line
that.
The nearby lightning.
Yes. Yeah. It would be a fun exercise to come up with the descriptor for every team name that exists in the NHL.
I guess just making anything close makes it scarier. Like the local Bruins. Like, fuck, there
Ooh.
are Bruins in Boston. I'm not going there now.
What about the Nashville in your neighborhood Predators?
Yeah. the Nashville like online Predators.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
We do speak about things in the area and certain climates that could scare you with Sean Durzi. We're going to get to him in just a second. But first, I got to tell a story about a time I wanted tickets to the game. And I said, if I don't get to go to this game, I'm going to lose it. And my wife said, why don't you try Game Time? It's an easy website that it's got a great layout. You go right on there and you can get the best prices to the best games and best events. And I said, well, does it let me get as many tickets as I want? And my wife said, yeah. How many tickets do you want? I said 2. She said, are you bringing me? I said, no, I'm bringing my guma. So I went on Game Time. Yeah, I went on Game Time and I got these 2 tickets. And let me tell you what, the experience was so easy. My favorite layout of all of the various ticketing brokers. It's so easy. You see the seats right there. You click. You could see how it's going to look. You know how it's going to be. You could see the experience right there, and you cannot wait to click through. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHAOS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHAOS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Use code CHAOS for $20 off. Here is, yes, Pete?
I just want to know, before we go to Sean Durzi, Julian Breezeball spoke this morning and said that Steven Stamkos is not getting traded this year. We can put that to bed. It was pretty emphatic. So any Steven Stamkos trade rumors, I think we can squash them. But if not, then that'd be an awesome twist.
Bad journalist.
What do you mean?
You know what I would have said? I would have said Drewski voice. What do you mean by that? That's what I would have said.
Why?
Hey, Julian, let's pull out that thread a little bit. When you say he's not getting traded this year, do you mean like U.S. this year? Canadian this year? It could be anything.
He should have come out and said that on like December 31st. That would have
really
thrown people into a blender.
It's Pete's.
Anyone know when the Chinese New Year is?
I think Pete would, the way he was running his mouth yesterday. Here is Sean Durzi of the Arizona Coyotes. You do not want to miss this icebreaker. Joined by Coyotes defenseman Sean Durzi. Sean, you're a right defenseman. You ever look around the league at some of these guys and say, boy, I think he's a wrong defenseman?
Yeah, I mean, you look at, all the right defensemen in the league, they're pretty good players.
I'm sorry.
Give a real answer.
I'm so sorry you tried to give a real answer there. I'm just being a
douchebag. I was like, what in the world did I just get myself into?
Yeah. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, you look around the league and some of these guys suck. I was like, no, don't do that.
No, I was going to say they're pretty good, actually. Compared to you look at the right team in the league, they're pretty good.
Actually, one of my favorite things is have you ever had to play like the left side that much?
Yeah, last season in LA, I played a lot of the left side there with Matt Roy. So it was new, but I'm glad I did it.
Oh, okay. So people don't know this, and when I was a beat writer, it always fascinated me. Left defensemen can play the right side because typically when they're coming up, youth hockey, junior, whatever, there aren't a lot of right shots on their team. So they can play both because they've been doing it their whole life. It's like learning, it's like speaking 2 languages your whole life. And correct me if I'm wrong. And when you get to, if you're a right shot defenseman, you typically, when you're growing up, don't need to be put on the left side. So in the NHL, sometimes guys get moved from the right to the left side. And they're like, Jesus, fuck, this is so much harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was nuts last year. We had a bunch of injuries my first year, and then I came last year and kind of, if I wanted to play top 4 minutes, I had to play the left. And I've been pretty unlucky with that situation because like here in Arizona now too, we have, not unlucky, but just like 8. We were carrying 8 defensemen right now, and 5 of us are righties. Where you look around the league, there's like 1 righty on a team, and it's just the draw of the bunch there. But I've been around some pretty good righties so far in the NHL.
As a defenseman, like you get your points, you get your goals.
But like, is there ever a time where you're like, man, I should have played forward? Like, these guys get all the glory. These guys get like, the scoring mostly comes from the forwards. You ever like reconsider your choice to play defense?
Absolutely not.
No?
Defenseman, their number one rule is never trust a forward, and we always kind of laugh about it. There's always an ongoing battle wherever I've gone of defensemen versus forwards in practice, and we kind of take pride as a decor together, and it's always a fun battle. But now that I've kind of been a defenseman and kind of taken pride in that sense of it, I would never switch.
Do you think you could play forward?
Easiest position in sports. I'm just kidding. My teammates are probably laughing. This one goes out to Alex Kerfoot.
Yeah, do you ever look around at some of these forwards and say, I think that guy's plays wrong forward the way he plays?
Yeah, is that no question? Because we can talk about that one.
Yeah, me
and Kerfoot have a good laugh about it. He thinks it's so easy to be a defenseman, and I tell him it's so easy to be a forward. And Deneau last year did the same thing. He goes, all you guys do is just chip it off the glass. It's so easy. And we just laugh. And I said, you guys just skate around with your heads cut off. It's so easy to forecheck. And, it's the ongoing battle that we always laugh about, but it's all in good fun. I mean, every position.
I'm trying to think what the actual answer to that is, though. And, like, who gets what the fuck was he doing out there more? A forward or what the fuck were they doing out there more? A forward
defenseman
or a defenseman?
If you get caught out of position as a defenseman, I feel like you just get torched.
Yeah,
we've talked about it. It's got to be goalies the hardest because you could look real bad real quick. You can't really afford any mistakes. Then you got defensemen. Some of the mistakes are snuffed out by the goalie. You don't really see them, or turnover. It's a big save. It's not really going anywhere. Whereas if they score, then you're looking pretty bad. But and then forwards, they just skate around, try backhand sauce, cross ice. It's turned over. It's a 3-on-2, whatever. They should never score in a 3-on-2. So it's got to be that. But although I'll say center's tough. Center's got to be. I'd put it in there for. You're playing low. Then you're going to forecheck. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, center, you're like in charge, and you're just kind of driving the car.
You're essentially the defenseman of the forward group.
Yeah, but it sounds like, Sean, it sounds like you're saying that the goalies and the defense, correct me if I'm wrong, have some sort of like unspoken understanding of like, we're the adults here. No one expects these idiots in front of us to be smart, so we got to make sure that we're on our P's and Q's because they're probably going to mess up. It's about us to make sure it doesn't get any worse than that. That is exactly what you're saying?
No doubt about it. We actually do a D and goalie dinner every month here in Arizona, and the main topic of conversation is how much we can't trust the forwards. So it's pretty funny actually, and it's our favorite conversation to have, and it's always over, it's always with a nice steak and, maybe a bottle of red wine, but it's a good laugh always about talking about the forwards.
Is this, I can't tell if we're still doing the bit. You actually like have get-togethers to shit talk your forwards?
100%. You know how you were messing with me with that?
This is my favorite team now.
I wouldn't do that to you this early.
This is my favorite fucking team in the world.
I love him saying, I wouldn't do that to you this early when your first question was like the most shit-can answer question.
No, it shows what a like good guy and how in the trust tree we are that he was like, you know what? This professional interviewer has asked me a question. I'm going to give him a professional answer, even though it was... I actually don't think, if we want to like analyze that first question, I don't think it's that bad. I bet sometimes, I know that you're a defenseman, so it's established you hate forwards, but I bet some defensemen every now and then, like, I don't know, like you run into like Drew Doughty or something and you're like, hey, you see the way Bez playing defense recently? Embarrassing.
No, you know what? One thing I've learned is you can never really... As a player in this league, you don't criticize other players in this league. Like in all seriousness.
Oh, come on! I've seen the Ottawa Senators Uber ride video. That's not true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know.
You just don't
know
that
but you'll get humbled so quick. You can't do it. It's such a hard league, and the minute you say something about something else, it happens to one of you guys. So you can't do it. It's just that's why that question there was no way to answer it. I had nothing for you.
All right, well then check this out. Who is the worst player on your team? I'm just kidding. I would never. I do like. I want to be positive about players on your team. Connor Ingram is a bad fucking dude. He's awesome. Every glimpse we've seen of him, it's like more and more and more of like this dude is not just for real, not just so for real. Like he is a stud. Have you known that since you've been there?
My question was going to be, what did you get Connor Ingram for Christmas? Because holy shit.
So that's the thing. When we do these D dinners, it's usually one of the D men who pay because we just thank the goalies for kind of saving our asses all the time. But no, honestly, I can't believe how lucky we are here. Like both of our goalies are world class players. Like Ingy's had such a sick year so far, and like Veg is all-time teammate, great guy. Both of them work really hard in practice. Both of them are, it's a great laugh with them all the time. Like they're really good guys, and I think the connection we have as a team is pretty special. To be honest with you, it's, I'm shit talking the forwards all podcast so far, but it's all in good fun. Like they'll give it right back to us, and the 2-on-1s we do in practice, we're all chirping each other, pushing each other to do better, and it's such a good atmosphere here. And I think when you have that kind of camaraderie within a team, it's pretty special because, everybody wants each other to succeed. Everybody wants to do better. And I couldn't be happier, for Ingy and Veg to have great years and to play in front of them. And honestly, when they're having good years, it only helps me. So I hope they keep doing what they're doing.
I have to imagine the way that you guys have played this year, and like it's been a really, really good year for you guys, that like it's been a sense of relief because, I mean, you coming over from LA and obviously not the best season for Arizona last year, and it is what it is like over the past handful of years, but like how impressed have you been with the organization, and like how much of a relief has it been based off your expectations when you were coming over?
Yeah, I mean, when I got traded, it was pretty clear to me what the plan was going forward. Bill and Bear kind of made it clear that this team's going to get better, and we're ready to get better now. And I think as a player, that's what you want to hear. You never want to. I don't really know any players who've really wanted to be a part of a rebuild, and I mean, at least I wouldn't want to be. It's you want to win. It's why you play the game. It's what makes it fun. You can just see the mood around the room after a win. But to have that conversation with them, immediately the day of the trade, I kind of knew what I was coming into. I mean, they had a pretty good culture here. I just had to kind of accommodate myself to it, bring what I can to the table. I mean, coming from LA, it was a pretty good team. I learned a lot from those veterans over there, so I kind of brought that with me, and yeah, I mean, be able to contribute to this team is pretty special right now. It started, like I said, the day of the trade. It's just the culture I came into, and to keep it going is pretty important for us.
You ever see any like spiders or shit like that in Arizona? I've never been to Arizona.
Buddy, when I first got here, I was tiptoeing through my backyard, like thinking a rattlesnake's gonna jump out at me. Like I'm terrified out of my life, and I remember like I'd have to go clean the pool heater or the pool filter, and I'm like pinching the cover, like thinking a snake or scorpion's gonna jump out at me, but I haven't seen anything yet. The craziest thing I've seen was like a gecko, like those little lizards or whatever.
That I can do.
That's harmless. I think.
Harmless.
Unless
I
it's like seeing a seal in Cape Cod, which means like you're not really seeing a seal. You're seeing there's fucking sharks nearby. So like I guess I would Google gecko food chain and just see who eats them. Because it's gonna be like fucking like pterodactyls come down and eat them.
You know what? So we saw one. We saw one in our backyard, and I remember like, oh my god, is that a fucking lizard? Like what am I looking at? Like is this thing gonna come flying in the house? Like he's trying to get in the house. And then we saw the same one for 3 weeks. So then, we started leaving like little pieces of food and stuff outside, like keeping it as like a outdoor pet, I guess. And then after 3 weeks, I had that exact thought you just came up with: is if we got lizards in our backyard, what's hunting those? Because
And
maybe
if you're feeding them, they're just going to bring more lizards.
It's like if you find money and you're like, is someone gonna come looking for this money? You're like, I found a cute little lizard. Is there like a pissed off bear that is like, where's my fucking lizard? That guy took it.
It took 3 weeks for that to kind of click for me, so I wasn't really too sharp on that end of it. But I realized that it's probably not a great sign having lizards and little bugs in your backyard.
Dude,
don't get too comfortable either, because I remember Biz like 4 or 5 years ago on his Instagram story, he had a rattlesnake in his garage, and he had like a full day battle with this rattlesnake trying to catch it or kill it. And I think that he ended up killing it with a hockey stick and basically cutting it in half. So be alert.
2 minutes for slashing. Am I right? Honestly, so like one of my best friends had his bachelor party in the Grand Teton, whatever those are. It's like people go. Sean knows. And he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go hiking in these mountains, and it's like this beautiful thing." So I just Googled Grand Teton wildlife, and it said there were wolverines, which I did not know that wolverines were an actual animal. I thought that was a made-up fucking monster for movies.
But only was Jack Human.
Yeah, I thought it was like a comic book thing. So I told him, like, I'm very, very sick. I can't go on planes or something. I don't know. I thought of some excuse. But honestly, if there are certain fears of like certain areas and climates, I think the players should be able to veto trades because they're too scared. And like you have to have a doctor's note or something. But like, I don't know if like, and I don't want this to cost teams like the Coyotes, but certain areas where there's like a predatory animal that you're afraid is going to eat you, you should be like, no, I can't go to that. I know I don't have a no trade or a no move, and I'm under 27 years old, only have like 1 year of NHL experience, but I don't have to go there because I'm too scared.
Yeah, I mean, first off, we're not going to let the fact that I just said Jack Human slip. It's Hugh Jackman. I'm a big fan. So
I know.
I didn't even catch it, but thank you for bringing attention to it.
Let me correct myself.
He's a jacked human.
Great actor. And then now back to your question. Thinking of the places with the warm climates probably have the craziest wildlife. I mean, it's a give or take. You want the weather, you got to live with it. So maybe a rattlesnake in the backyard, but I'll take 20 degrees Celsius in December any day. So that's kind of a give or take.
Where is considered, like, I mean, maybe it's the place you came from, but like, where is there like a universally everybody would be cool with playing their spot? I don't know, like maybe like the Rangers or the Kings or like New York, LA, whatever. Is there one like amongst players when they're not talking shit about each other's position groups?
I mean, you look at the spots that I've been pretty lucky. I think LA and Arizona, like, for good weather. I know a bunch of guys who actually say they can never, players in the league who say they can never play in warm climate. And I'm like, you got to be crazy. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, they don't understand. Like, and growing up in Toronto, like in these months, like it's cold and you don't see the sun. It's dark at like 2:00 in the afternoon. Like, it's beautiful right now. Like, and yeah, it's a little cold. Like, this time of year, I realized that it gets cold here, and I didn't know that, honestly. I thought it was just kind of hot the whole time, but it does get a little cold, but the sun's out. Like, it's still beautiful outside. You wear a jacket. Like, weather-wise and for just mood and all that stuff, I've been pretty lucky at those places. I mean, yeah, there's New York, like, pretty cool spots on the East Coast, obviously. Great spots all around the league, but just for those guys who say they can't play in warm climates, I'll say perfect. Keep some more jobs open there because it's pretty nice in the warm cities.
But I do understand. You said it's a give and take. Like, I understand why like players would put up with like the cold and like maybe like the harsh media in Toronto if it means a chance to lose. It's a joke about the Leafs. They don't win. It's not like you're going there and getting pucked or
I
anything.
was gonna say, man, you keep putting me in spots to criticize other players and teams, and I won't do it. Like, you're not gonna
It's
get me
not
to do
like
it.
you have any relation. It's not like you know of the Leafs professionally or have ever like been in their organization or grew up watching them. Or how about this? What was it like for your parents last year when you? By the way, like I'm gonna say fans probably maybe thought that you like dove or something when you got hit in the head and you went down. And anyway, so that's a biased little summary. But to folks who don't know, you were slashed in the head. The player got tossed, and I forget who did it. The player got tossed, and the rest of the game, every time you touched the puck, Maple Leafs fans booed you. Now, you were drafted by the Leafs. That was your first home. You obviously grew up in Toronto. Your folks were at the game. What was it like for them when you were getting booed every time you touched the puck?
Well, let me tell you this. I'm still having an ongoing conversation with my grandmother to try to get her to come back to one of my games in the NHL because she just refuses.
Oh no.
She refuses to come back ever since that day. I mean, you know, as a player, it was a pretty cool experience, I guess. Like you're especially in Toronto, like your team growing up, you're kind of in that community of Leaf fans, and then to be getting booed by 18,000 people every time you touch the puck, you can kind of hear it coming as the puck's coming to you, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess it's not on your bucket list until it happens, but it was a pretty cool experience. But for my family, it was horrible. It was, I mean, I guess my parents thought it was funny. My dad was kind of laughing at it. He thought, you know, it's pretty cool. It's, you know, 18,000 people. I remember my grandfather told me after, he goes, you know what? It was a proud moment for me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, 18,000 people knew the Durzi last name. And I thought that was cool too. And you know what? That was a nice moment. But then my grandmother, who was in tears for 80% of the games, refuses to come back to the game. So I'm trying to convince her to come back this year. I have my work cut out for me, but hopefully I can set her up with, you know, either some good seats, a box, something to convince her, dinner, whatever it is. But I got to get her to come back.
What's the thing that they do? What's the method of facing your fears where you kind of immerse yourself in it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
The way-
it's like exposure therapy or something.
exposure therapy. So here's what happens. Next time you play in Toronto, as soon as you step out for warm-ups, throw both of your gloves down so everyone can see your hands. Throw a suck it, right? You do a lap. Go in the Leafs, start shooting their pucks, doing like, and then like doing this. Yeah. Like I can't hear you. Maybe some off-color remarks. Just say some like terrible things to fans. Really get them riled up, and they're gonna be hooting and hollering, booing so loud that if she can get through that first minute, she'll be fine the rest of the game. I think that's a really sweet thing that you could give her.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do for her. I'm sure she would love that. You know, you've had great ideas, great questions, right in the hot hand here. So,
as somebody who nobody on earth appreciates Leafs misery more than me, so I have to know, as a kid growing up as a Leafs fan, what was your like most depressing moment as a Leafs fan?
I think probably when they blew that to Boston was
Hell
pretty,
yeah, buddy. I'm a
pretty
Bruins
ugly.
fan.
I remember
The
I was studying for a test and watching the game at the same time, and I had a bunch of pencils in front of me, and you know, I'm writing shit down, and as they're blowing the game, I'm just putting my head down, and then they lose the game, and I just grabbed all the pencils in the house and I snapped them off, threw them at the wall, and you know, I thought I was all tough shit until my mom started screaming at me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Okay, sorry, I got out of hand." But yeah, that was probably a tough moment for a Leaf fan.
I got to ask you this question, and if you've heard it a million times or whatever, you can feel free to roll your eyes and groan or whatever. But what's the deal with your relationship with Pete Davidson?
Oh yeah, I have heard it a million times, but no, it was we had a mutual friend in LA, and it was he was in town that night. I kind of went to go see him and just say hello and whatever. It was living here now, we're not going to be able to see him as much, so he was on tour with Pete. We ended up meeting Mini Pete in the show they do together, and then he was a big Coyotes fan. He's from Arizona, and we took a pic together and whatever. Me and Pete were hanging out, and as we're taking the pic, Pete kind of popped in, and it kind of blew up. So it was honestly, like, at the time you don't even think anything of it, and then the next couple of days it kind of went nuts a little bit. But it was Pete's a cool guy. It was my first time meeting him. He's funny as hell, like people say. So even just in casual conversation, but that kind of pic blew up when you don't even think anything of it.
Do us a favor and settle a bet. You said that you would have Ben Affleck play you if a movie were made about your life. Our producer, Sean, said, oh, well, he kind of looks like a young Affleck. I agree. Pete says you two don't look too similar. Is that why you picked Ben Affleck? Because you thought that there was maybe some physical similarity there?
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty, considering the circumstance, you guys got to give me credit. That's a pretty good answer. Like, it was bang questions.
It's the best answer. And it's Affleck.
So we're Boston guys, and like we ride for Ben Affleck, and like
Huge.
nobody rides for Ben Affleck.
Unbelievable, so. Yeah, unbelievable actor. Like great actor, and yeah, I don't know. It was on the spot. Another guy I would say is probably that what's his name from The Punisher?
Jon Bernthal.
Yes.
Oh,
exactly.
Jon Bernthal rocks.
He's great.
Yeah, he's another
awesome.
good actor. I think that could. Kind of resemble myself a little bit, but considering the bang questions, you guys got to give me credit. Ben's a good answer. Like, that's.
No, I mean,
I didn't have time to think about that.
No, it's a fantastic answer. He's great. You're also just like not to blow smoke. You're a terrific interview. Like you're do it for how much Pete's been fucking around and asking silly questions. I think that you've handled them very well.
You know what? If you weren't bullshitting me all interview, I'd believe you. But thank you for that. I really I thank you.
No, truly. I mean, when we were booking this, Jeffrey, the media relations person, was like, send along some like things that you're thinking of doing with them. And I was like, buddy, we're thinking of doing everything.
if we send that stuff, you won't let us do anything with them.
Buddy,
so.
We're taking him on a spaceship to the motherfucking moon. Does that sound good? Because I think he'll be down. Sean is spelled Shawn. You're Sean. Could you give us your rankings of Sean spellings?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't have a choice in how I got mine spelled. So,
what if you did?
Yeah,
that's what you see. This is why these bang questions are tough. Like, this might be harder than the first question you asked me today. So, I'd have to say, no, I don't know. It's.
I mean, I know the answer.
Like,
one,
I get some. What do you think it is?
One, Sean, as in Sean Figgins. Chone. That is just the most gangster spelling I've ever heard in my life. 2, Sean, as in our producer, Sean, Shawn. 3, Sean, as in Sean Durzi, Sean. 4, Sean, as in musician Sean Fleming, Shaun. And 5, Sean, as in former NFL running back Sean Green, Shonn. It's probably a nice guy. Hate that spelling.
You ever hear of the one Sian?
So I know Siobhan, which is similar, which is like Siobhan.
That's a good one.
But there's a
Sion. I know a Sean Sian.
I
would.
Are they Armenian? I mean, typically, if it ends in IAN, it's Armenian, but that doesn't sound Armenian to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
but
a tough one.
I get some pretty funny, Ubers where, they can't say my name, and I'm like, it's a pretty common name. Like, I mean, I get they're sounding it out, but I get Cian, Scene, like. So maybe I wouldn't rank mine 1. Maybe I kind of like your rankings. Put me in the 2-3 spot.
Yeah,
But
there's not too much pressure on you, and like if you thrive there, then they'll be like, I bet that SEAN knew all along he had it in him, but we weren't.
see, that's just I'm managing expectations here. Like you don't want to be the 1 seed because come playoffs, everyone thinks you're kind of gonna run through the bracket. You don't want to be the 6th or the 7th seed or the 8th seed because you're going to get torched. Like you really don't have much of a chance. You had a bad season. You kind of want to fall in the 2, 3, even 4 spot because then, you get the 4-5 matchup early on. You can take them out. You build a little confidence because it's a good enough opponent where it preps you for the 1. Then comes the 1 seed where, you get the right bounces, you take them out, and then you're laughing on your way to the finals where you just took out the 1 seed. You can kind of be the new 1 seed.
You're so right about the 5 seed thing because when like an 8 upsets a 1, people are like, oh, damn, I guess that 1 seed was a little too big for their britches. And like all these, there's like a narrative that goes with all these. But when a 5 upsets a 4, it's like, well, what the fuck do we do with these guys now? Because
there
like, are they like, would they have upset the 1 seed? Like all these things, and that keeps you like a little bit of a dark
All
horse.
I'll say is you just put yourself in a really tough position because if the Coyotes end up making the playoffs as like a 6, 7, or 8 seed this year, I cannot wait to clip that portion of the interview and just be like, Sean Durzi says the Coyotes are fucking cooked before the playoffs even start.
Zero context. Sean Durzi talking about the Coyotes playoff chances.
If you're a 7 seed, you're fucked.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we find when doing clips, no context is better because it allows us to make the player look whichever way we want them to. So
No,
I
I
don't get why
figured-
players get so mad when things are taken out of context. It's like, well, it wouldn't have been as cool and fun if we just did what you meant.
No, I knew right away from this little chat we're having that you guys were gonna blow my clips up in all the wrong ways and make me look like an idiot. Forwards suck. Sean Durzi said can't trust any forwards, and
Yeah,
Sean Durzi says Coyotes have no chance in the playoffs, and you guys, I knew right away from question number 1.
it's shot. Yeah, and I mean, we actually got like light canceled by your friends in Toronto because I don't know if you saw the video last week of William Nylander laughing during the national anthem, which in all seriousness, like was fine. It was the national anthem was ridiculous. It was like this guy shredding on the guitar, and that was cool. But William Nylander was like laughing and kind of looking around, being like, "This is wild, right?" And with straight faces, we said that he wasn't going to get anything in free agency because all 26 American teams were going to drop out because he hates the troops, and like saying all this stuff that was clearly
That's your
bullshit.
guys' quote.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First, kicked off the clip with William Nylander hates the troops.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see the Sean Durzi clips.
Yeah.
We'll tag you. Don't worry.
Yeah,
You'll
what
see him.
Yeah, just give us every political affiliation you've ever had. And the cool thing about these days is no matter what your affiliation is, we can say it as though it's slang. Like I'm like I'm what somebody would call like a soy boy, cuck, whatever. But if I want to insult Pete, who is also one, I can also be like, liberal failing podcast host. And they're like, oh, damn, Pete sounds stupid now. So
Again, though,
either way.
Again, though, with the Nylander thing, you're just not going to get me to criticize any other players. Like, you just can't do it. No matter how hard you guys try, I just won't do it.
So you're supporting somebody who hates the troops, which means by association, Sean Durzi also hates the troops.
I mean, I'm just listening to your conversation, but I'm just not saying anything back. I told you guys that I came on. I know that first question stumped me a bit, but I sharpened out after that. So nothing's getting past me right now.
Was that like a welcome to the
being
NHL?
complicit sometimes.
Last thing, I know we've taken up way more of your time than we wanted to, but what's it like being an Alan Walsh client in the Twitter/X era of the world existing?
Yeah. Honestly, like, seriously, everyone laughs about that, but like, Alan is seriously the best guy ever. Like, I can't even explain to you how much I love him. Like, he's such a great person. Like, me and him can have a conversation about anything at any time and, talk forever. And he's just so good about everything so far in my career. I can't thank him enough. He's a straight up guy. I'll tell you that for free. He's right away. He tells you how it is. And as a player, that's kind of what you want. I mean, you have so many people just blow smoke up your ass and tell you this, that, but for him to kind of find the right times to tell you how it is and say this is kind of what you need to do, and especially early on when I was just trying to establish myself in the league, he's like, I've seen this. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've seen players come, I've seen players go. This is really important, and obviously I'm not going to give away all of his secrets, especially to you two guys, but I'm just kidding.
Fair. It's fair.
I'm kidding.
But no, honestly, he was really, 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 really important for me and early on in my career. He just telling me how it is. Like, this is why guys have come. This is why guys have gone. And him just having that experience is really important to me because, yeah, I could have learned by experience, but sometimes, at that stage of my career, if you learn by experience, you're not getting a second chance. Like, it's do or die, especially coming in as, a call up and a couple years pro. Like, you gotta show that you can play. So, I mean, I love Alan. I love his family. I love everything he's done for me so far. And, we have a really good relationship. And, yeah, he's pretty wild on X sometimes you could say, or Twitter, but he, in the gist of it, he's just looking out for his players. And I think that's really important to have a guy to go to bat for you and go to bat for the players in the league. I think that's kind of what he does. And you see the gist of it there.
I don't doubt that he loves his players.
I was going
It
to say,
seems
like, you have to know, like, he's going to ride for you. Like, I don't think he's doing that shit on Twitter and then going into contract negotiations and being like, look, we all know my guy isn't great, but can you, like, I'm sure, like, that belief seems very, very genuine because, like, typically you're not that passionate if you don't so feverishly believe in the people.
Has there ever been a conversation where you're like, hey, if you're going to send a tweet about me, can you just, like, maybe run it by me first?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope he would probably, but no, he's like you guys said, like, you can see that, like, he cares about his players. And as a player, that's all you could ask for. Like, there's so many things that I don't want to talk about as a player on that side of things. Like, leave me out of it. Like, that is why I have him, and that is why he's so important to me, is because I don't want to go in and say, all that stuff. I just want to play, do my thing on the ice, enjoy the time I have. It's such a privilege to play, and to worry about that stuff and be stressed out. And, so many guys beat themselves up, negotiation, contract years. And he gives me such confidence in just being able to go play and be myself that it's such a good relationship we have. And maybe he gets some hate for the stuff he says on Twitters, but he's really just loves his players. Like, he's just going to bat for them.
Well, the cool thing is, if we put out any of the clips that we've threatened to so far this episode, he is going to send a tweet.
You guys are getting backlash.
Right, like, so maybe that's also part of the reason why, like, that's muscle. We can't fuck with you because, like, we can't fuck with you online because you have, like, the, like, biggest gangster on
like
all of sports
of
Twitter.
Yeah.
You have Tony Soprano of Twitter just, like, sitting there. And it does remind me, I was watching a Sopranos rerun recently, and somebody said, like, the one thing about Tony Soprano is you always know where you stand with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably, like, that sounds like it relates big time to Alan Walsh. Well,
is Alan Walsh Tony Soprano?
Yes.
Listen, Sean, we got all these jerseys adorned on our set, and when we have particularly amazing guests, we're going to get that player's jersey and put it back there. You have earned a Sean Durzi jersey on this set. How you feel about that?
Hold on, Pete. Is this guy bullshitting me again? Or
No,
I can't even tell anymore. Like,
this is a true story.
Such
So
a straight face.
you might be like the second commitment that we've made. We're gonna get a Kirill Marchenko jersey for the set, and now we're getting a Sean Durzi jersey for the set.
Right on, boys. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Before you leave, could you put us? If you have, like, a marketing person there or anybody who, like, sends people free shit, You just put them on. We have a question to ask. We're not going to pay for it. We've decided. You're such a good guest that we will accept you giving us your jersey.
I'll send Jeffrey your way. He'll set you guys up.
All right,
Perfect.
Sean, you are the best. I think this is airing after the Cowboys play. I was going to make fun of the Cowboys and everything, but sincerely, you've been so awesome with us. Like, go Cowboys for your sake. I know you're a big fan.
Thanks, guys. I was going to say that would be the last straw there, but thanks.
A lot of things there. First of all,
I really wish you made the Cowboys joke.
I know.
really made.
First of all, that is heavily edited down, even to get that. And my favorite part is all the edit points. If you got a savvy eye and you could tell the edit points, at least one of us has a smirk at every edit point because the previous part was funny, or like we were fucking around, or like one of us did something. On the Cowboys thing, one of the things we had planned, the initial icebreaker was, this is airing after the Cowboys play, so how disappointed are you in what happened to the Cowboys? Because we fucking knew the Cowboys were going to lose. But he ended up being such a good guest, and we came up with a different icebreaker that we never ended up getting around to that. That conversation ruled so fucking hard. I love that he acknowledged, like, you know what? Sure, I was thrown for a loop in the beginning, but I've caught up to you fuckers now, and you can't get me now. We never really give each other direction when we're going into it. I said to you before, I was like, if you want to read what my question is, you can read it. All I ask is, I need you to be with me through the first question, because if we can put up a front through this really dumb first question, we got fucking high stakes. And he was so fucking, like, I didn't think that he would seriously try to answer that, but it set the tone.
I know.
He was the
I felt
fucking
so
best.
bad that he genuinely tried to answer it, and I was so concerned for like 30 seconds. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be the most awkward interview ever." He's like legitimately trying to give a professional answer to this question. I don't know if he's going to play the game, but like the journey of the interview is probably my favorite thing that we've done so far, and I feel like I say that every time, but like the journey of him being like, "What did I get myself into?" and then like by the end was absolutely grabbing the most ass of any interview that we've done is the best. So yeah, the 50 plus minute interview. If you want to go see the full thing, go to YouTube. It'll be up there later today. Just lovely guy. Just clearly one of the boys. And I love that so much.
I know that like Jackie Redmond is doing one of these shows now too, and I don't want to like let the cat too far out of the bag, but like these guys rock. Like NHL players are fucking fun. They're humans.
Dudes rock.
Yeah, they're raised on a lot of respect shit, so they're going to generally be humble, but they're still funny people who like to fuck around, and I love the teams are letting us do this sort of thing. We have so much fucking fun during these interviews. We need to get to the biggest story in sports, though, which is that the Buffalo Sabres had a pizza party, and we're all over it. Are you big into sports receipts Twitter? I don't mean receipts for like you said this, but when a receipt is posted from something, whether it's a bar tab or in this case a pizza party, do you like picking through these things?
Depends what it is. Like the pizza party thing didn't really do a whole lot for me. But like obviously the Bruins tab after they won the Stanley Cup was very interesting, and kind of just seeing what the guys are drinking and stuff like that. That is more interesting to me than like what kind of pizza they're getting. But I think we do have some takes that are coming from you two. So I'm interested to hear those.
I mean, Will Cook, check out this. I just think it's funny when there's a receipt that says a famous person's name on it. It says Rasmus Dahlin, and it's a pickup order. Here is the order for the boys: 6 large cheese pizzas, 6 large pepperoni, 3 large Hawaiian pizza. No, I was going to say the 55 burgers, 55 shakes. 6 large cheese pizzas, 6 large pepperonis, 3 large Hawaiian pizza, 1 bucket of wings, 1 2 buckets of medium wings. That first bucket was mild. And 1 bucket of barbecue wings. And Sean, your take from this, attaboy on the drop, your take from this was people are obviously going to get on or obviously the Hawaiian pizza thing is alarming. I forgot the way you put it, but you wanted to focus on the mild wings. I pushed back on you and I said, hey, shut the fuck up about Hawaiian pizza. You're allowed
we're
to.
not doing that.
Hawaiian pizza rocks and pineapple belongs.
Hawaiian pizza does not rock.
It does. Shut the fuck up.
No.
So do you know where he's coming from though, Pete? This has a twist.
So
Is it because it's actually Canadian?
No. Hawaiian pizza sucks because ham doesn't belong on pizza. I love pineapple on pizza, but ham is such a mid pizza meat. Like I would much rather have pineapple and sausage or pepperoni or
I think it's fine.
almost anything.
I usually do pineapple and bacon.
Pineapple and bacon is a great substitute. You ever done
Ooh,
pineapple, chicken, and bacon? That is incredible.
I don't think so. Like, I don't know what I'm sure somebody's going to get mad at us and be like, well, that's not actually Hawaiian pizza if you put bacon instead of ham or whatever. Like,
It's not. Yeah.
To me, any pizza with pineapple on it is a Hawaiian pizza.
No.
I don't know if that's incorrect or not,
That
but
is
like
incorrect.
I mean, it's
you
got to
think
have.
so?
It's got to have ham and
Yeah,
pineapple
Hawaiian
for it
pizza
to be.
is ham and pineapple. First off,
Well, I guess I just like pineapple on pizza then. Like,
yeah,
because
that is very good.
which is
pineapple.
completely acceptable. And I think if you don't like pineapple on pizza, you're a child and you need to grow up. It's good.
Okay.
And
Okay.
My
This was
thing
not
is-
the reaction I was expecting to have from your take, but I think that's fine.
I got in this fight with Scott Zolak one time. He was like, fruit doesn't belong on pizza. Folks, guess what pizza's made of? It has 3 ingredients,
Fruit.
and one of them is fruit.
Yep.
So fruit does belong on pizza. I'll tell you what, my least favorite topping among like foods that I enjoy, like I don't like olives, but so obviously I don't like olives on a pizza. But
Black olives on a pizza, though.
so I don't like that.
No. Yeah.
But-
disgusting. I'll eat it if it's there.
Black
but
olives on pizza is
if
delicious.
you're ordering it, you're a psychopath.
I hate banana peppers on pizza.
Oh, boo!
I think it overpowers
Boo.
everything so much. I like mild flavors on pizza. I want the first line center of the pizza to be its crust, its sauce, its mozzarella. I don't necessarily want one flavor that overpowers it. So like sausage is as loud as I'll go with the flavor. Although I'll say like I'll put barbecue chicken on a pizza all day.
I think that's a fine stance. I kind of agree with you there.
We have very similar
I'm
taste
more
buds,
curious-
though, that the listeners should know.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm more curious though. Like Sean, what's your opinion on Domino's?
I love Domino's. I mean, I
Okay.
love Domino's I love Domino's in the way that I love McDonald's. Like if I want pizza,
Yeah.
I'm probably not getting Domino's. If I want a burger, I'm probably not getting McDonald's. But there's so often that I'm craving Domino's or McDonald's.
The thing is, it's like its own category. Like McDonald's is McDonald's. McDonald's is
it's not
not like,
burgers.
it's not
It's
you're not getting a cheeseburger. You're
Yes.
getting McDonald's.
That's
That's how I
all
feel
about
about Domino's. You're not getting pizza. You're getting Domino's.
I will
And like
say
your expectations have to change based on that.
the biggest so I always say like Subway always tastes good because the only time you get it is when hopefully Subway's not a sponsor. The only time you get it is when you're so hungry that you'll eat Subway, and when you're really really hungry, anything tastes good.
Yes.
The biggest change, obviously, I am outspoken as the one of the rare human beings to quit drinking and gain weight as a result because I just eat everything. The biggest dietary change to me not drinking is I have not had Domino's in like I don't know, like 15 months now or whatever it's been, because the only time I would get Domino's would be like I'd come back from a Celtics game, housed, and be like, Domino's o'clock. I never just get Domino's anymore, and I miss it.
I had Domino's 2 weeks.
I think you're wrong in the first part of your argument because I've cut back on drinking. I haven't completely cut it out of my life, but I've cut back on drinking and I've definitely gained weight because what I've given up in terms of alcohol, I've picked up in weed, and I will just eat everything when I smoke.
Yeah.
And
What-
I've gotten Domino's like 3 times in the past month, and I smoke 2 pizzas at a time.
I mean,
when I
while
do
we've got our hands full of ass, let me ask, what is your Pete knows my weird stoned move of Uber Eats. Sean, I will get a single item If I am properly stoned, I will Uber Eats like one candy bar and spend like $9 to do it.
That's psychotic.
Which is the weirdest fucking thing on a long list of weird things about all three of us. That might be the weirdest thing. I will Uber
I would
Eats.
feel so conscious about the delivery driver's opinion of me.
Yeah, I would just be like
dropping off
profusely
one
apologizing.
candy bar.
I mean, he's got to make the run, but he doesn't have to get as much shit. Isn't that nicer? And I'm gonna tip him because I'm a stoned idiot.
Well, I think I used to
think
drive
when
a
you're
little DoorDash.
I think when you're getting more, like the driver's like, it feels like it's worth it. Like it feels like the trip is for a purpose.
If you're
and
getting
you're
a
just
candy
getting
bar, that means the DoorDash driver most likely had to get out of their car and go into the grocery store and use their little like DoorDash card to buy a candy bar. So it's more work than the average DoorDash delivery. Because I used to drive DoorDash back in Arizona. And those were my least favorite, is going into the grocery store.
So
I saw somebody in the comments, and
person.
I think they tweeted receipts. If this is the same person, somebody did the ice cream and cinnamon toast crunch experiment, and they said it was delicious. So credit to you, Deej.
I will note they did it. They tried it with Americone Dream. I do it with the Tonight Dough starring Jimmy Fallon, but I will not lie. If I had to guess, I probably have done it with Americone Dream. Something about the late night Ben and Jerry's collaborations are very, very, very good.
I love Ben and Jerry's so much.
Those guys love weed, so
we got off the pizza party too fast, though.
Okay,
I had more. First off,
we're grabbing the wrong ass, boys.
First off, I wanted to say that I so strongly disagree with Pete. What guys are ordering for a pizza party is way more interesting to me than hockey players getting drunk. Like, cool. You won a Stanley Cup and now you spent $10,000 on alcohol. Awesome. I'd rather see what the boys are doing when they're getting together watching some football.
$10,000, buddy. They bought a bottle of Ace of Spades that costs $100,000.
That's such a Sabres fan read where he can't identify. He's like, I have no interest in celebrating winning a Stanley Cup. I'm more interested in having a Monday night eating some pizza. I wonder why.
Okay.
Loser's mentality.
First off, fuck you both. Secondly, we haven't mentioned the fact that Zach Benson was apparently sent to pick up the pizza order, which is also like, I would all respect to Zach Benson, top 2 favorite Sabres player for me. But also if I was like working at a pizza shop in Buffalo and they're like, Rasmus Dahlin's coming in, and then they just send in this little blonde 18-year-old to pick up the pizza, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? I wanted Rasmus. But also I want to know, and this is maybe a very Buffalo specific thing. I have a grandma in my family, as many families do. And
sick brag.
Yeah, I know. No grandpa though, so it's give and take. But
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. They ordered like one thing of mild wings, which is very much like, grandma's here today, so we can't order the hot wings. I want to know who's the fucking coward that was like, make sure we have some mild. I'm looking at Kyle Okposo. He kind of gives me a mild wings kind of vibe. He's just an old guy.
He does.
But like, I just want to know what's like. Someone fucked this all up. It should have been like 6 pepperoni, 6 cheese, 2 buckets of medium, a bucket of hot. And I'm so pro barbecue wings, so I'm there on that. But I got a lot of questions about what was going on at this pizza party.
Let me say, as somebody with silent reflux, it is possible that the person who ordered the mild. So I love spicy food.
Same.
I think that buffalo wings don't taste that good. I think that buffalo sauce is not a particularly great flavor. It just tastes like vinegar to me.
I quit.
So I know. Most human beings disagree with this. I still will eat spicy foods, despite the fact that I should not, for the sake of not ruining my throat. I am not going to play that card on something that I don't think is amazing. So if I have to do some sort of buffalo wings, I will do the most mild one possible because they don't taste good to me anyway. So I'm not going to fuck up my throat for that. So
that
maybe
sounds like someone who's been living in Boston and not the greatest food city in America.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I think it's just a taste of vinegar because I don't like buffalo sauce and I hate balsamic vinegar. That makes me like, that smell makes me throw up.
Okay.
Gross.
Interesting.
I just want to, can we go back to the receipt real quick? Because I just want to point out something weird is that it says Rasmus Dahlin at the very top of the receipt. Like that's the name of the restaurant that they ordered from. Like they just made it, they wanted to make it extremely clear that Dahlin ordered this pizza in this order. It's all over the receipt. It's all over the receipt, first and last name. I've never seen that before.
I'm guessing it was very much like, hey, this is a very important customer. So make sure we get this order. Like we ball out in this order. There's no excuse for you to like you.
And just put at
this
the
is
top,
quite
don't
clearly
fuck
for
this up.
Rasmus
It's the
Dahlin.
Sabres team pizza party.
I mean, well, that's another thing that I am very interested in. So this is a little bit of Buffalo knowledge. Lenova Pizza, official pizza of the Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres. In my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of Buffalo people, just absolutely dog shit pizza. And me saying that is very risky because Lenova, very famously run by the largest Italian mob in Buffalo. Like it's run by a crime family. It was very much started as like a front for the mob, and then it got big, and now it's the official sponsor of
I'm just gonna say, after hearing that, like I denounce whatever it is. I denounce
to those listening,
Sean's take. My hands are clean.
My grandpa,
don't
my grandpa,
nothing to do with it.
Listen, my grandfather Thomas Morelli, he was. You asked him about the Italian mob. He said it didn't exist, which to me implies that he was in it. So don't. I'm part of y'all. We're family. I'm sorry if I said the pizza shit, but it is.
Nope. Take Sean. You can have him. We'll find another producer. I had nothing to do with it.
But I am very curious. It's very interesting to me that we didn't discover where the pizza was from, because I feel like they would have had a problem if they had not ordered from the sponsor.
I will tell you what, though, I do like that the team is still getting together, eating some pizza with the boys, watching the big game.
Right. Vibes are good.
Or go Bills.
Somebody said, by the way, somebody in the chat said during that conversation, David Pasternak's ankle has entered the chat, which I can't remember if it was his ankle or his wrist or what it was, but that's a joke about David Pasternak. Allegedly, after an event late at night, waiting for an Uber.
Pizza party, though.
What's that?
That wasn't like a pizza party. That was like a team function.
Yeah.
And
he was just out with the boys.
Fell down the stairs or something. Quick, a little update before we get out of here. Chaos Chain has finally changed hands. And the Seattle Kraken were shut out by the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is a team that belongs to Sean. So we have a Chaos Chain holder within the podcast, and he has now assumed ownership of the Seattle Kraken as well.
They call you Tony.
Congratulations to you.
Listen, as I said,
14 days with Seattle Kraken.
As I said in our text conversation yesterday, this very much feels like I just passed the open chair in musical chairs while music is still playing, because it's like having it now, being there now is cool, but the odds that I'm also here at the end when it actually matters seemed pretty low, so I almost would have rather saved it. But hey, I'll take it. Maybe the Penguins will.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because if the Penguins go on a little winning streak here, you have a chance to grab like 4 or 5 teams.
I guess that's true. I guess I wasn't fully clear on the rules of the Chaos Chain. So.
What?
I don't think anybody is, and that's the beauty of it. But any team that any team that your team beats while holding the chain, you take that team and you own that team.
Okay, so let's hey, Sid the Kid.
Say
let's go on a little bit of a run.
They call you Tony the way that you up the Gwyn, right?
The Penguins' next game is Penguins' next game is Saturday against the Vegas Golden Knights, so it could be a quick ownership of the chain.
Vegas would be a cool team to take, though.
Vegas would be a very
Does anybody have Vegas? No.
I
don't think so.
No. Last thing, Pete is going to one of the most mid hockey games ever tonight. He's going to the Blackhawks.
Mid is generous, buddy.
And I was going to say one of is also generous. I would say the most mid.
But Pete is going to Blackhawks Sharks. So today's edition of the Wheel Spin is we put 16 Blackhawks and 16 Sharks on the wheel. I know that we could have just done like 2, but it's always going to be 32. We're going to spin the wheel. Whichever team it lands on, we will place a money line bet on, and that will at least make this game interesting. So we ready to spin, boys?
Are we all betting on the same team?
I'm going to do it. I mean, dude, I crushed yesterday on football, so suddenly your boy's flush with cash. Let's spin. Who do we want to be? Who do we want?
Sharks.
Blackhawks. I'm going to be in the building, so let's go.
Ooh,
hell yeah. Chicago
Hawks.
Blackhawks. Let's go. Big hometown victory for the boys, Tommy Hawk and company. It's the only person I know on this team other than like Seth Jones, Nick Foligno. Jason Dickinson got a contract extension today. 2 years.
Whoa. What do you get? 2 years?
2 years, 4.25, I think it was.
I'm telling you what, they're spending all of that Nylander money on their own guys.
I know. So,
Amazing stuff.
but I mean, they're keeping the guys around that they like. So, we'll see what this team looks like next year. But tonight, we root on the Blackhawks. Money line bet. We will be in the building. Vibes will be good, and I'm excited.
Well, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thanks to Sean Durzi for joining. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening anywhere,
Oh wait, hold on. I gotta completely
subscribe
stop
on YouTube,
you.
Sean.
You guys, one of you spelled my name SEAN in the rundown.
Yeah.
Who did?
It wasn't me.
One of you. It was you.
I'm guessing it was me. I mean, if anybody fucked something up today, it would probably be me because I'm very, very sick, Sean.
That's not an excuse.
That is not. That's weird. You know what, though? This is going to be a little...
I was going to say, you got an easy excuse here. You can just say I was editing the Sean Durzi interview while I was doing this, and so it crossed my wires.
I'm not going to be able to find it, but somewhere years ago, there was talk of when I was working at WEEI in Boston, they wanted to do a radio show that was me and Sean Thornton. And I texted him and I said, hey, Sean, what are you hearing about this thing? They told me to reach out to you to see if you were interested. Apparently your agent is talking to them. I don't have an agent. I'm an asshole guy, but like, I'm down to do this if you are. And I spelled Sean wrong. And he was like,
that's over. It's over there.
Maybe I'll do the show if you learn how to spell my fucking name. I hate you. And most of our interactions were like joking, fuck off. I never want to talk to you again. But every now and then there would be a real moment where he was like, get the fuck away from me. And I would still think he was joking. So I was like, ha, 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 my bad. So apparently I just can't spell Sean. So thank you to SINE Durzi for joining, and jump on the YouTube, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see who wins that very exciting game. Oilers going for 11th in a row. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.